Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus Reports. Today's October 1st, 2025. It's Barry Jr.'s birthday, Benny.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that on Facebook. I sent him a happy birthday.
And this is Ben and Barry on football.
What's going on out there, everybody? This is Ben Dickerson. I am your co-host, and my birthday is next Tuesday.
Glad you reminded me. Thank you.
And that's all I got to say about that.
All right, we're going to kick the show off. Looks like we don't have a lot of upfront discussion. We do have a few things on the back end that we definitely want to talk about in terms of our social media page, some of the hot news that is out there right now. But it's just so much happening. Well, first of all, Benny, let me say we have completed the second preseason. Week 4 is in the books, so it's real football at this point. People are kind of okay. I didn't know you could do that, but now I know you can do that. I didn't know you could do that, and now I know you can do that. And even to the Eagles, and I know you'll talk about it with the fake tush push. It's like people who kept saying, well, they could run a fake. They could run a fake. We go, yeah, they could, and they did. So it was an interesting week 4. I was tied to the TV, and we'll talk a little bit more about it as we get into the Bias Plus reports. So let's get ready to kick this off, Benny, because it's just too good to wait. Too good. All right. We're kicking the week off, Benny, with my beloved 49ers in a divisional match against the St. What is it? The St. I'm going to say St. Louis Rams. What is the LA Rams? Wherever they from, anyway.
Yo, what did you fall into a time machine?
You know what I'm saying? You know what
The
I'm saying?
St. Louis Rams. Marshall Falk just went, huh?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Torrey Holt's like, I was on that squad.
I was there. I was there. And unlike those years of past, the box plus score 11.9 favors the Rams, Benny. It favors the Rams because my Niners are ranked 17th in net points and the Rams are ranked 12th. My Niners are at 1.3 and they are at 4.8. So they got the net point advantage. And then I'm negative 1.3 on the turnover advantage, and they're positive 0.8. So once we throw all of that in the calculation machine, it comes out to an 11.9 favoring the Rams. Last week, I said, why are y'all starting Purdy? Mac and cheese. I'm happy with him. Let it keep going. I think he's growing in it. But no. What do you got on this, man?
Well, first of all, before I get started, let's remind everybody this is the first of the bye weeks. We got 4 teams on the bye: Atlanta Falcons, Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are all on the bye, will not be playing this weekend. Now, let's talk about the 49ers. First of all, they're 3-1. Uh, they were at home last week against the Jaguars. And when I was watching the game, I was kind of thinking about it. I'm watching the things that are happening and stuff that's going on, and I'm thinking this is like a version of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I started taking me some notes for each different thing. Now, let's see. The good. Christian McCaffrey, who I love, racked up 141 total yards from scrimmage and a touchdown. And Brock Purdy, back from a toe injury, threw for 309 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now the bad. Purdy was a sloppy 22 of 38, and McCaffrey was shouldering a really big load. Too big, not too big for him to handle, but too big for him to have to handle, as far as I'm concerned. He had 23 total touches, and he far outproduced in touches and yards every other back and receiver on the team. Now, the ugly. Purdy threw 2 interceptions and he lost a fumble. They had 4 turnovers total. And the defense, oh, the defense. 0 sacks, 0 takeaways. Not a good day for the 49ers. Now, the Rams defense intercepted Daniel Jones of the Colts twice, but did very little else against the undefeated Colts. This game, matter of fact, yeah, right. That's what I thought. Okay. So anyway, this game pretty much fell totally on Matt Stafford. If the Rams were going to win it, he would have to get it done. He was 29 of 41, 375 yards, classic Matt Stafford day, threw 3 touchdown passes, had 0 turnovers. Great day by Matt Stafford. This guy does not age. He's looking great. His 10-yard touchdown pass to Devontae Adams gave the Rams a 13-10 halftime lead. It stayed that way through the third quarter. The Colts scored early in the fourth quarter and went up 20-13, but then Stafford went to work with an 11-play, 83-yard drive. Ooh, classic. And a TD pass to Puka Nacua, of course. That tied the game. And then he closed it out with an 88-yard bomb to a wide open Tutu Atwell. How he got that open, I do not know. But the final score ended up 27-20. Matt Stafford is on a heater, and Brock Purdy probably came back too soon. And now it looks like he's not going to be able to play this week. I don't know if that's good or bad for the Niners, but as hot as Stafford's looking and as good as the Rams defense is looking, I don't think it matters. I got to go with the Rams on this
I was listening to, I believe it was one of my favorites, Mina Kimes. And she pointed out that the Niners had 0 pressures on the quarterback in that game.
Wait, they had 0 sacks and 0 pressures?
Pressures. She used the word pressure. Okay. So that's terrible. And then how, excuse me, it's very hard to even analyze your backs when you got 0 pressures up front. That means that they got to cover for a really long time. But yeah, 0 pressures, and the offensive line now, people are really beginning to question. I've been questioning it for how long now? 2 years I've been saying we got a great lineman, and everybody else is really on the lower end of the ratings in terms of that. And Brian Robinson, our backup?
Yes.
You got to spread that running back love between him and my man and the fullback. You can do a lot with some of the other players and not beat up Christian McCaffrey too much. But he is probably on the offense, when the offense lines up without Kittle, et cetera, the best player on your offense. So you're always going to have to, look at your best player a little bit more, put him in some passing situations, use them to, screw up the defense a little bit, camouflage them, let's send them someplace, but you're looking to go someplace else just because that they're going to have to focus on him. So I don't know if we can get past the Rams playing the way we are, but I felt like Purdy struggled with size, just those interceptions and stuff. It looked like between if you are undersized, you have to be mobile. And if you're not really mobile and you're undersized, you're going to have a problem because you got to find your passing lanes. And so I think he struggles with that. You see the pocket collapse and he's trying to throw out of it. You're too short to throw out of it when it's being collapsed by a guy that's 6'8", 325 pounds or something like that. So that's kind of what I see. When is Kittle coming back? Do you know?
Let's see. He got hurt in game 1. Is that correct? So I believe they were saying week 6.
Okay, so we got a couple more weeks to go there.
Yeah, week 6 or possibly before.
Okay, no problem. No problem. So you're going with the bias, going with the Rams.
Yes.
All right, that's just the way it is, man. I mean, the numbers are the numbers. It is what they are, Okay, Benny. Next up, we have the Vikings at the Browns. Bias plus score of 23 favors the Vikings. The Vikings are ranked seventh in average net points. The Browns 29th. Uh, Vikings are 11th in offense, putting up 25 and a half points per game. And the Browns are 31st, putting up 14. Defense wise, Vikings are actually ninth. They're allowing 20. And the Browns, even though they've been pretty dominant, are giving up 25 and a half points per game. So they're 24th. So long story short, looks like a Vikings day, but we know number one is the quarterback still Carson Wentz.
As far as I know, last I checked, the quarterback is still Carson Wentz.
Okay.
And in his second start this past weekend with the Vikings, didn't actually go very well for him.
No,
They
it
played.
didn't. I'll let you
They
talk, but I have one other question.
yes.
Can Dylan Gabriel provide the same type of spark that your boy Jackson Dart did?
That's a joke, right? Come on,
It
man.
could be.
Anyway, Carson Wentz's second start with his new squad didn't go well, as I said. They played the Steelers. The Steelers were really tough against the run. And Jordan Mason's been running really well, but the Steelers kind of put the clamps on him. And Wentz struggled to put together a touchdown drive for over 3 quarters. They couldn't get to the end zone. The Vikings D was also struggling. They've been up and down. They got bum rushed by the Steelers ground game, and they only recorded 2 sacks, while Wentz got sacked 6 times and threw 2 interceptions. He finished with 350 passing yards, but his 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns were too little, too late. Now for the Browns, Mr. Flacco came in hot on the Browns' first possession against the Lions. His first drive was 13 plays and 88 yards, and it ended with a Quinshon Judkins touchdown run. In fact, Judkins was a workhorse during this game, for most of it anyway, but Flacco finished pretty badly. He got sacked 3 times. He threw for measly 184 yards. He had 3 turnovers, and he got benched late in the game for Dylan Gabriel. They ended up losing 34-10. It was basically a slaughter. So things aren't looking up for either one of these squads. However, I believe Carson Wentz will be going into his third start. Dylan Gabriel will be going into his first start in his career. That alone tells me to give the game to the Vikings.
All right, there we go. Going with the bias, going with the Vikings. Now I said I had to do a double take there, make sure I had it right here when I was looking at it. So going with them Vikings, man, I tell you. Okay. Cowboys at Jets, the only team that I had any family that played for. Bias plus score of 6.2. Favors the Cowboys, Benny. Ranked 23rd in average net points. This is one of those games where both teams are really in the negative. So one's just less negative than the other. Cowboys at minus 4.5 net points, Jets at minus 7.5. Cowboys putting up 28, and the Jets putting up 22. Cowboys are ranked 31st in defense. So the Jets have them a little bit there. They're ranked 28. Is really that much to write home about in terms of that differential. But I actually think this could be a very interesting game. And I'm interested to find out where you fall on the Jets quarterback situation at this point.
The Jets have a quarterback situation?
Fields.
What? I don't understand what you mean by a situation.
Okay,
Here,
that's
I'll
a
tell
good
you what.
question.
I'll let you know how I feel about the situation. I'll tell you what I think about the Jets first.
Okay.
So they played the Dolphins in the first game of the Monday night doubleheader. The Jets lost the game. They fell to the Dolphins 27-21. Justin Fields came back from a concussion, looked really good through the air and on the ground. 226 yards and 1 touchdown passing, 81 yards and a rushing touchdown on only 7 carries. So he's not overrunning. He's not overdoing it. He's being smart. He's still a great scrambler. Breece Hall and Braylon Allen contributed to a huge 197 total yards, but the Jets were penalized 13 times, turned the ball over 3 times, all of them on fumbles, and the Dolphins turned 2 of those fumbles into touchdowns, handing the Jets the 27-21 loss. I think Justin Fields is the starting quarterback for the Jets and will remain the starting quarterback for the Jets and is the best guy for the job. As far as the Cowboys are concerned, last week I called the Cowboys a get right game for Green Bay.
You sure did.
And they sure needed a get right game. Well, I was ready to pack them boys up for the season. So, of course, you know what happened. Both defenses struggled, but Dak was on his game. He had a solid 31 of 40. That's a nice day for him. 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers. Good game by Dak. The ground game produced 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. And one of those touchdowns was by Dak also. This game turned out to be a slugfest. The lead changed hands 7 times, and then it went to overtime. It was a great game if you have fantasy players, because the longer they play, the more your fantasy players have opportunities to ring up points for you. But it was disappointing as far as an NFL finish, because it finished in a tie. It was 40-40, and that was the tie. Okay, the game's going to be at MetLife. Justin Fields looks fine to me. The Cowboys have a heck of a lot of problems with the run, and the Jets are running the ball well if they're not doing anything else. I'm going to go with the Jets on this one.
Yeah. Okay, going to go against the bias. Going to go with the Jets. I understand that the coach was really giving it to him after the game. I think all of those penalties and things, and those things really they kill you. You 2 steps.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You cannot
backwards,
do that.
You can't play that cha-cha game and actually win.
It's ridiculous.
I still got questions about Fields and his ability to get the ball off quickly. There's so much opportunity. I'm looking at the different patterns, different crossing patterns. There's so much opportunity to get the ball to one of those playmakers short and let him turn it into something. And I don't see him taking as full advantage as I think he could. So I'll keep an eye on that. Dak has the most passing attempts in the league. He's up in the 40 per game range. So he is number 1 in passing attempts. I happen to be looking that up because I was wondering where Jalen Hurts was, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Dak is number 1, and we'll see how this goes. So the bias favors the Cowboys by a little over a touchdown, and you're going to go against and go with the Jets. All right.
Yeah, I just real quick went to the box score here. Fields was 20-27 for 225 and a touchdown. I don't. That's a pretty good day.
He had.
I mean, if you watch games and you're looking at the underneath routes all day, you're going to see them open all day. Quarterback's not going to throw every open underneath route.
Well, I know
It's
he's
not going to happen.
every one, but so often you're throwing passes with a much smaller potential for success than what you got right in front of you. And
I understand you. I understand what you're saying, but 20-27 is pretty efficient.
20-27 sounds good. It really does.
And if they were longer passes than the short ones that were underneath, that tells me he's throwing the ball better than he was.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. So you're going with the Jets over the Cowboys. Next up, Broncos at Eagles. Bias plus score of 3.7 favors the Eagles, Benny. This I expect to be a really good game. This is one of the games where the Eagles are favored, although they are not net point. They're not ahead on net points. They're actually behind. Broncos at 7.3. Eagles have 5 net points. It's in the plus. What changed it to the Eagles side? Broncos are minus 0.5 on turnovers, and the Eagles are plus 1. So the crazy calculations actually came out in favor of the Eagles. One of those strange situations. And again, I was taking a look as to where Jalen is because, so much is said about their passing game. He actually is about 23rd in passing attempts in the league. And there's a lot of good players in that neighborhood. So that's, it's not bad, not bad. I sound more like you defending Fields than I'm defending Hurts for his number of passing attempts, but it is what it is, and they're winning with that number. So, what do you got for this?
Well, Eagles will be at home. Let's talk about them first. 2 weeks ago, the Eagles got off to a slow start against the Rams. They did absolutely nothing in the first half of the game, but they came back real strong in the second half and they ground out the win. This past weekend against the Bucks, it was the total opposite. They ran out to a 24-6 lead before halftime on a block punt, scoop and score by Sidney Brown, and 2 touchdown passes from Jalen Hurts. Both of those went to Dallas Goedert, who's just starting to get his game together. For all those fantasy guys that got Goddard out there, and he had a big game. Oh, also Jake Elliott kicked a field goal. That was in the first half. After that, they pretty much were sleepwalking through the whole second half. The only points came from the 6-yard Barkley run off the fake tush push that was early in the third quarter. And besides that, the second half went like this. They punted 6 times, they gave up a safety, and they barely held off the Bucks 31-25. Now, in the second game of the Monday night doubleheader, the Broncos completely dismantled the banged up Bengals. And I say that to let you know the Bengals are not at the top of their game, obviously, not just with missing Joe Burrow, but several other people also. The score ended up being 28-3. Bengals never had a chance. Denver dominated in almost every way, not just on the scoreboard, but time of possession, number of plays that were run, first down, yardage, you name it, they dominated it. So the Bengals had no chance in that one, but Denver actually played really well. They're going to have a tough time coming into Philly. I think this being the second week in a row, the Eagles played well for half a game, that I'm not going to go against them this week, even though the 2 games that I picked for them to lose, they actually should have lost, but defense and special teams pulled them through. So I'm going to go with the Eagles this time. I'm going to pick them to win this thing. But I'm telling you right now, if the Broncos come in hot and Bo Breeze, as I call him, not Bo Nix, I call him Bo Breeze, comes out on fire, this could be a problem for the Eagles. The Broncos are one of those teams that can really test your secondary, especially if you got one great corner, but 3 so-so corners on the other side, taking turns trying to figure out who's the guy that's going to get the job done. They got a lot of good receivers, a lot of tall guys, a lot of fast guys. They can really test your secondaries. So if Bo Nix is on time, this could be a problem for the Eagles. But I got to pick somebody to win, so I'm going to pick the Eagles to win this game.
Going with the bias, going with the Eagles. All right, Benny, let's move on to the Texans at Ravens. That just sounds weird to see that the bias plus score of 3.8 favors the Texans right now. But when you look at it from a net point perspective, right? I mean, let's face it. Let's just go straight to the defense. Ravens are ranked 32nd. They're giving them 33.3 points per game. So their net points are minus 0.5, whereas the Texans are at least in the positive at 3.3. So not to take it too much further than that, the Ravens, and again, I know you're going to talk about the Derrick Henry, but I don't know if you saw what I posted on Facebook when Lamar Jackson got hurt, and who was it, Rush that they brought in?
Cooper Rush.
And I'm like, okay, Now that y'all brought in Rush, maybe you'll give the ball to Derrick Henry a little bit more. But you tell me about this, Benny.
Uh, I'm not going to say what I want to say. Maybe I'll say it later. Uh, okay. Texans will be visiting Baltimore. So they finally, oh, by the way, both teams are 1-3. Okay. Since we were talking about, the bias and all that stuff, both teams are 1-3. At the beginning of the season, I would not think that a lot of people would guess that both teams would be 1-3 or one of these teams would ever be close to 1-3 at this point in the season. But in fact, that's what we got here. So the Texans finally won their first game, 26-0. It was a shutout over the winless Tennessee Titans. They led the game 6-0 at the half, but they didn't sniff the red zone, let alone find the end zone until early in the fourth quarter. CJ Stroud had pretty good numbers overall, and rookie running back Woody Marks, there's a name a lot of people don't know. He actually outplayed starter Nick Chubb and put himself on the radar as a bye week replacement in fantasy. A lot of people snatching him off the waiver wire in fantasy. He did a good job, but they did beat the Titans, and Titans. We'll talk about them later. They're not in good shape right now. Now the slumping Ravens lost to the resurgent Chiefs, 37-20, and somehow they never really looked like they were in it. I mean, you might look at that score and say, well, maybe they were hanging in there for a while. Da da da. Things just are not right in Baltimore right now. Lamar threw for 147 yards and 1 touchdown. That's really lightweight numbers for him, especially when they were leading the league in offense. I think you can check your ratings there, but for the first 3 games, I believe they were very close to the top of the ratings in offensive scoring. But anyway, he threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He ran for 48 yards, but Derrick Henry, here we go again, only had 8 carries. This is not Derrick Henry's fault. I put this on the OC. He had 8 carries for 42 yards. Now, granted, in some of the other games when he didn't have a good number of carries, and it seemed like they abandoned the run too soon, they were still in the games deep into the third quarter, and I think one of them even into the fourth quarter. They were quite well within range of pulling that game out, but they abandoned the run. Lamar put it all on his shoulders, or they put it all on Lamar's shoulders, and he ended up not being able to carry the load. This time, early in the third quarter, it was starting to get away from him. So I'll give him a break on that. But still, 8 carries for 42 for Derrick Henry is not going to bring wins to your team. They never threatened in this game. Also, talk about injuries. Counting the guys that didn't even start the game, by the end of the game, they were missing 7 defensive starters. That's a hurt piece. So they already couldn't stop the run. Now they got a total of 7 defensive starters that are out with injury. And I don't know if any of them are going to be even close to being able to come back for this game against the Texans. So that's going to be a problem. I got to go with the Texans on this one. I really do. I think the Ravens are slowly unraveling, and this is going to be a very bad season for them. Well, at least not up to their normal standards. And I think that OC is on the hot seat.
Well, you mentioned them scoring, Benny, and you were on target. They were ranked third in scoring, putting up
Right.
32.8 points per game.
Right.
So the only problem when you do that is, as far as net points is concerned, is when you're scoring 32, but you're giving up 33.
Right.
That's
So I remember, I don't remember the exact numbers, but when we were talking last week, and you said they were here in offense and they were down there in defense, and I went, oh, that's a huge gap. Yeah, but it's only getting worse. I mean, you can't be less than 32nd in defense, but they're pushing it.
yeah, for sure. All right, so you're going with the bias?
Going with the bias, going with the Texans.
Holy mackerel. Who would have thunk it? Interesting game right here, Benny. Dolphins at Panthers. Bias plus score 4.6 favors the Panthers. Carolina, let me tell you. Dolphins are ranked 28th in net points at minus 8.8, and the Panthers are ranked 24th at minus 5. So this is one of those games, again, where both teams are in the negative. Dolphins are a little more negative on average turnover differential at negative 0.5, and the Panthers are negative 0.3. So yeah, it favors the Panthers. One's just less bad than the other. But at this particular
Less
point,
bad.
going into week 5, um, like I said, the Dolphins look like they're, finding their run game, but they lost their biggest weapon. So I'll let you take it from there.
Oh yeah, I didn't even note that in my notes, but since you mentioned it real quick, I'll say Tyreek Hill has all kind of ligament damage in his knee, and he's done for the season. And it's going to be a tough comeback for him. He didn't just tear his ACL; multiple. He's got a bunch of damage in his knee and several different ligaments. So yeah, that's going to be a long, arduous rehab for him.
Yeah,
But we
that was
wish
a
him well.
dislocation, man. He
Yeah,
dislocated.
well, he dislocated his knee, but when the knee dislocated, he ripped up a whole bunch of ligaments.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's got a long, hard road to come back, but we wish him well. Anyway,
Oh, Benny, let me say this real quick. They have a meme out on him. It's like Tyreek Hill. They got all the nurses lined up. These are all his nurses. Did you
oh
see that?
no, no,
You didn't
but I
see
can
it?
imagine.
They're all pregnant.
Oh, gee, that's funny, but it's not funny, man. I don't, I don't know who's worse, him or Ant-Man. Those two are something else, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Well, I guess Ant-Man's worse because he's younger. No, Tyreek is worse because he's older. He should know better.
You should know better by now. I know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. But anyway, so the Dolphins got their first win of the season. Both teams, by the way, are 1-3. The Dolphins got their first win of the season at home over division foe New York Jets. Tua cashed in with 2 touchdown passes, and Devon Achane. I keep struggling with that name. Is it Achane or Achan? I'm sorry. I think it's
I think it's
Achan.
A-Chan.
I think it's Achan also. You're probably right. He got 20 carries. Listen up, Baltimore. Your top running back gets 20 carries, and he got 99 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Defensively, they sacked Justin Fields 3 times, and they recovered 3 fumbles, not all by him. And that contributed to their 27-21 win. Good for the Dolphins on their first win. Now, so the first 3 weeks of the season, the Panthers hadn't really played too badly. They even put together a big division shutout over the Falcons, but their trip to Foxborough was one they're going to want to forget. They scored on their opening possession, and from then on, they either punted or got stopped on downs with a field goal maybe mixed in there somewhere. They were so beat up by the end of the game, they took Bryce Young out, brought in Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton drove him down for a touchdown in garbage time, but that was about it. Yeah, they never stood a chance in that one. Oh boy, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins on this. I every time I want to feel good about the Panthers, they just let me down. They had the one big win over the Falcons, who had just put together a great defensive game the week before. That was weird. It was weird. I don't know. I blame that more on the Falcons playing poorly than I do on the Panthers playing well. But I think the Panthers are back to their losing ways, and the Dolphins are starting to get it together. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one against the bias.
Even if the red rifle starts this week?
He's not going to start.
Okay. All right. Going against the bias, going with the Dolphins. There you go. Uh-oh, Benny. Your New York Football Giants at the New Orleans Saints, and that bias plus score of 6.8 favors the G-Men. There you go. Well, the G-Men are ranked 26 at net points, and the Saints are ranked 30th. So you're -7 in total. They're minus 13.8. And turnover differential is 0 for both teams. So it's all based on net points. And as you can see, the Giants are better in terms of net points. Offense is pretty much this, ranked the same. 27 for the Giants, 28 for the Saints. But the biggest difference is the defense, where the Giants are ranked 23rd, and the Saints are ranked 30th. So Giants only giving up 25.3, and the Saints giving up 30. Long story short, it favors your G-Men, Benny. What you got?
All right. So you cannot tell me that head coach Brian Daboll was not the happiest guy in MetLife Stadium last Sunday. There's no way. Not a fan, not another coach. He was the happiest guy in that stadium. Not only did he start his first round pick quarterback Jackson Dart, but Dart played really well against a good Chargers defense. And he led the Giants to their first win of the season and kind of turned some of the heat down on Daboll's seat. They ended up winning the game 21-18. He threw for a touchdown. He ran for a touchdown. He had 0 turnovers. And the defense, looking inspired, had 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 interceptions. And just so I could say his name, the 2 interceptions, one was by cornerback Drew Phillips, and the other one was by Sexy Dexy Lawrence. And he almost ran it in. He tripped over a blade of grass and fell just before he crossed the goal line. Now, the Saints, they're going to be home in this one too. So if there's a game they think they can win, this might be it. They're winless, and they lost to the Bills, 31-19, another heartbreaking loss. They played really hard in this game, though. They actually had themselves in position to try to pull off an upset. They were down 21-19, and it was still 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, but the better team just simply pulled away and beat them. I think the same thing is going to happen. The better team is going to end up winning this game, and the better team in this game will be the Giants.
All right. Going with your G-Men, going with the bias. I know you like to say that. It just sounds good, though. Giants.
I mean, they earned it.
Let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Did, Jackson Dart get a little bit beat up in that game?
He's got a little twinge in his hamstring. He'll be okay.
Okay. All right. All right. You say so.
All that running through the Charger defense, he got a little aggravated hamstring. Yeah. And doing that I think that touchdown dance might have got him.
Oh, he was getting it in, wasn't he? He got people going, oh, I didn't know he had it like that.
I love it. I needed something good to talk about my team. I really did.
There you go.
And by the way, I wore one of my Giants shirts to the gym on Monday, and nobody said a word to me. Nobody said nothing. They was looking at me like,
I can't say nothing to you this week. Maybe next week. All right. Well, I told you, again, my thesis was that they're going to surprise you. They're going to be a little bit better than what you might have thought. So I'm still hanging on with that. All right. Raiders at Colts. Bias plus score 22.7. Favors the Colts. Benny, the Colts. Colts been on a tear. They got 3-4 weeks of really good play, and then they ran into the Rams. But the Raiders are ranked 25th in net points at minus 5.5, and the Colts are ranked 4th at plus 10. So right there, you can see where they've been favored. Raiders are negative on turnovers, and the Colts are positive at 0.8. So you got the Colts have been playing really, really good ball up to this point. What do you think they're going to do? Think they can hang on to this bias and beat those Raiders?
Well, I'll tell you what. They're the home team, right? Yes, they are going to be home this week. Raiders got to come into Indianapolis. So we'll talk about the Colts first. Now they're 3-1. Raiders are 1-3. Daniel Jones wasn't at his best against the Rams, that's for sure. But he and the Colts played well enough to win this game. They should have won this game. I don't care what anybody says. This game turned on the brain farts of Adonai Mitchell, of, of which he had two. One was bad enough, but that second one hurt me even more.
All right,
Okay.
tell me a little bit because I know the one you're talking about.
They could have made the difference in this game, I'm telling you.
Where
First of all,
go ahead.
he fumbled the ball right before crossing the goal line on a really nice catch and run. He made a great catch. Then he looked like they had him tackled or pushed out of bounds. He got away from that. He took off running. He was about to cross the goal line. Looked like he tried to switch hands. I don't know what he thought he was going to do with the ball. And it slipped out of his hands and rolled out of the back of the end zone, making it a touchback instead of a touchdown. That's 6 points on the board and right back off. Okay. But then later, which was even worse in my eyes, he got called for a holding penalty on that spectacular 50-something yard Jonathan Taylor run and got that run called back. So he basically killed two touchdowns. That's 12, possibly 14 points off the board by one guy. Unbelievable. And he didn't even have to hold. I could see if it's like, oh my God, if I don't make this block, my man's going to get tackled. Taylor was gone. He was gone. And he held him anyway. So anyhow, they lost that game. That was their first loss. I still like the way they're playing. Raiders. Ashton Genty finally had a breakout game for the Raiders against the Bears. He rushed for 138 yards on 21 carries and one touchdown on the ground. And he had two touchdowns through the air. Get this. He had two targets. They threw the ball to him twice. He caught both of them, and they were both touchdowns. Now that's some nice work right there. Unfortunately, my man Gino is still having issues. He did throw the two touchdowns to Genty, but he also threw three passes to the other damn team. It's three more interceptions. I believe he had three the week before. Still, they had a chance to win the game. They were down 25-24 with 38 seconds left. But Daniel Carlson's field goal got blocked. Tough luck for the Raiders, but if Gino doesn't get it together soon, they're going to be hard pressed to get themselves another win. Colts at home, I got to go. This one's basically a no-brainer for me. Got to go with the Colts.
Yeah, Benny. Two things real quick. Was it the announcer or was it one of the shows afterwards where they were saying his new name is G? No.
G, no.
But then the other thing, the big difference for what I'm hearing about Ashton Genty is that they let him go with his normal stance that he played in all through college. He kind of stands straight up, when he's back there, and they were keeping him from doing that. And now that they let him do it, all of a sudden, bam, 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 he's looking like an all-star.
Not they, the dreaded Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly had a problem with his stance. And he talked to him about it in preseason, and he basically forced him to change it. And now, since he couldn't get on track, I guess he said, you know what? Do whatever makes you feel comfortable, and the ball goes off. Now, I don't know if that's exactly the reason he had the great game, okay? But they did kind of concede and let him do what makes him feel comfortable. I saw a meme. They said him standing back there in the backfield looks like who's the guy with the mask in the horror movie with the big Jason? He looked like he's standing like Jason getting ready to chop somebody's head off. But anyway,
I
yeah,
just thought to myself, maybe because he's not the tallest guy, he's kind of on the short side. By standing straight up, he gets a better view of what the defense is doing, their alignments, et cetera, et cetera. I think maybe the view, his pre-snap view is improved. That's just a theory of mine, but I would think that if he's standing up, it would help his vision a little bit. So anything that helps. But we all knew he had a lot of potential, and I'm glad to see that he's finally actually getting a chance to show people what he can do. So, all right. However, going with the Colts, right? Going with the bottom.
yes, sir. That's
Okay.
correct.
Titans at Cardinals by a supposed score of 20.5 favors the Cardinals. Well, Titans are actually, excuse me, as far as net points, they're in absolute last place, 32nd place. Cardinals are in 16th place. So right there, you can see that the Cardinals have a pretty good advantage, and they just have a smaller advantage on turnover differential. Titans are at 0. They're really struggling. That young man, Ward, they caught him on at the what you call him, and I'll let you say what he said because he kind of described what
What, at the press conference?
yeah.
He said, if you want to keep it a buck, we ass.
That's what he said.
Sound just like one of my guys up signings. It's exactly what they would say. I keep reminding people, you can't forget, these guys make a lot of money, but a lot of them are kids. If you got sons and daughters in their 20s, you know what I'm saying. Okay. And that's how these guys talk. That's how they think. That's, you know what I'm saying? So that's basically it right there. We ass. That's the easiest way for a young guy to put it. And he ain't lying. Anyway, I believe the Titans have found their quarterback of the present and the future. Cam Ward is the guy, but they need a heck of a lot more than him to start winning games. In this game, they punted the ball 5 times. 3 of them were 3-and-outs. They got stopped on downs twice. Bad as they are, they actually went for it 2 times and didn't get it. And their kicker missed 2 field goals. That's a bad day. I don't care. I don't care how you want to look at it. Now, as far as the Cardinals are concerned, the first half of the Cardinals game against the Seahawks was on Thursday Night Football. It was the first game of the week last week. The Cardinals got a field goal in the first quarter, and Kyler Murray got intercepted twice, all in the first quarter. He was trying to hit Marvin Harrison Jr., who has not really played as well as people thought he would coming out of college and being a first round pick. Um, One of the passes he bobbled and dropped, and it got picked out of the air. The other one, he actually just stopped running his route. And Kyler was throwing to a spot, and he never ran to the spot. He just gave up on the route, and that one got picked also. And with James Conner out of the season, out for the season, their run game really had no juice at all. I think Trey Benson took over. Now he's hurt too. So another guy that's probably going to be a hot pickup in fantasy is what's his name? Emery DeMercado, I believe his name is the next man up as far as running backs are concerned for the Cardinals. But anyway, in this game, down 20-6 in the fourth quarter, um, Kyler finally put together 2 drives that ended on touchdown passes. One of them did go to Harrison, the other one to DeMercado. Now the score was tied at 20 and looking like it might go to overtime. There was only 28 seconds left in regulation, but kicker Chad Ryland made a crucial mistake after the second touchdown on his kickoff. Understand this. And let me tell you, if I don't remember to say this anytime, I'm saying it right now. I love the new kickoff rules. I love them.
You love
This
it.
new kickoff is the greatest thing the NFL has come up with in a long, long time. So his crucial mistake was he kicked the ball a little short, and it was short of the landing zone. The penalty for kicking the ball short of the landing zone is the receiving team gets the ball on their own 40-yard line, which is exactly what happened. The Seahawks got the ball on their own 40-yard line. 4 plays later, Jason Myers kicked the winning field goal and put Arizona out of their misery. Unbelievable. Now, the landing zone, in case anybody doesn't know, is between the 20-yard line and the goal line. So you have to kick the ball off beyond the 20-yard line. If it lands between the 20 and the goal line, the kickoff, the receiving team has to try to run it back. If you kick it into the end zone and they down it or just let it go out of the end zone, the receiving team gets the ball on the 35-yard line. If you kick the ball and it goes out of bounds before it crosses the goal line, and this is not a new rule, this is an old rule, the receiving team gets the ball on their own 40-yard line. That rule's always been in place. So anyway, there's my little tutorial there. Yes.
40.
Right. It only took them 4 plays to get into
field
goal range, and they did it after that. So anyway, yeah, Titans are in bad shape. Oh, we're not talking about the Titans, are we? Yes, we are. Titans are in bad shape. They're in really bad shape. I'm losing my mind thinking about them. I'm going with the bias and going with the Cardinals for sure. At home. For certain. Yes, absolutely. And DeMercado might give us a good game on the ground. Keep an eye out for him.
Okay. All right. DeMercado. That's a fantasy tip there.
Yep.
Buccaneers at Seahawks. Prize plus score 12.2 favors the Seahawks, Benny. Apologize to Desi for me. I'm sorry. The numbers aren't working out. The Buccaneers are ranked 18th. Seahawks are ranked 2 in average net points. Bucks are scoring 24, and they're giving up 24. So their net points is 0, 24.3 in both cases, and no turnover differential. The Seahawks are ranked defensively in 3rd, only giving up 16 points a game and 6 on offense, scoring 27. So they seem to be functioning at a higher level than the Buccaneers. That could be because of the teams they played or whatever. But long story short, that's a nice, decent bias, 12.2, almost 2 touchdowns favoring the Seahawks. And it is in Seattle. What you got?
Yeah, it's in Seattle. So anyway, just like the week before, Sam Darnold led the way for the Seahawks. He was very efficient, ran a nice ball control offense, and had no turnovers. Always a good thing. The defense sacked Kyler Murray 6 times, but they almost gave up the game late when the Cardinals tied it up 20-20 with 28 seconds left. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, their kicker, who I just talked about, failed to get the ball into the landing zone. The Seahawks got the ball back on their own 40. 4 plays later, and after a 22-yard toss to Jackson Smith and Jigba, my man's having a great season. That set up Jason Myers, and he drilled a 52-yarder right down the middle for the big Seahawks win. Now, the Bucs got off to a really slow start at home against Philly. They fell behind 24-6 by halftime. They made a valiant effort to come back in the second half, but they didn't help themselves with 2 turnovers. That pretty much spelled defeat for them. That was a game they really should have won because of how poorly Philly played in the second half, but they could never overcome the lead that they allowed the Eagles to build up in the first half. I do believe, you know what? Shoot. I was about to confidently say that I'm going to go with the Bucs against the bias, but their star running back, Bucky Irving, is a little dinged up. If he can't go, that's not going to be a good thing. Mike Evans is still out, but Godwin is back, and Emeka Egbuka. I was trying to say 2 different names the same way at the same time. Anyway, he's playing extremely well. You know what? I'm going to go with the Buccaneers to go on the road up there in Seattle and beat that good Seahawks defense. Yes, sir. That's what I'm going to do. Taking the Bucks against the bias.
All right, Benny. So you think that the Bucks can go up there and beat the 12th man, eh?
Yes, sir. Both teams are 3-1. I think
I
they
was
can
telling
right whatever went wrong.
I was telling Tara that we were talking about American football internationally. She didn't think it had really gone international, and she really didn't think it was in Africa. And I'm like, if you know how many African names we struggle with every week going through these teams, them guys is playing some ball over there, you know? So they're getting seen. All right. So you're going to go against the bias, a 12.2 bias, and go with the Buccaneers. That Seahawks run game ain't no joke, man. I'm sure I don't know about that, Benny. I don't know. All right.
Shut down Saquon.
Well,
Well,
I don't know if he got shut down or if the Eagles are just not running the ball effectively. But either way,
24-6 halftime lead,
hey, that's
and he
it.
didn't get off, and he surely wasn't going to get off in the second half.
Well, the one thing we do know about, and again, we're still talking about the Buccaneers here, is they got a couple guys on the interior of that defensive line that stuff a lot of runs. That is true.
Correct.
That is true. All right. Lions at Bengals, Benny. Bias plus score 34. 34, Benny.
34.
34
Sheesh.
favors the Lions. They're cooking
That's a
people, cooking teams. They are ranked number one in net points, Benny. Numero uno at plus 12.3. They're ranked number one, Benny, in offense, putting up 34.3 points per game. So they're 15th place in defense is okay. They're giving up 22. And they are fourth in average turnover differential. That represents a excellent team right there. Now the Bengals are coming in at 31st in net points with minus 14.5, 30th on offense, 27th on defense, and 27th on average turnover differential. So needless to say, bias plus favors the Lions, Benny. Detroit. What you got?
Mm-hmm. So the Bengals are home. They got thumped in Mile High last weekend, 28-3. They did nothing on offense worth even mentioning. And defensively, although they did record one interception on Bo Nix, they had 0 sacks and 1 tackle for loss. That's pretty poor. In all, they got creamed in time of possession. I mean, it was really bad. I didn't jot the numbers down, but it seemed like they hardly had the ball. On top of that, they got penalized 11 times. I'm telling you right now, before I even tell you that I'm picking the Lions, before I even talk about the Lions, if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm selling my tickets, man. This game's going to be ugly. The Lions offense wasn't even at its best against the Browns, uh, but I don't think the Browns had much to do with it. They just were kind of just chugging along, not really exploding like they normally do. Jared Goff threw 2 touchdowns. Both of them went to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jahmyr Gibbs had a really nice game on the ground, 91 yards and a touchdown on 15 carries. Detroit's defense got 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, and Khalif Raymond had a spectacular 65-yard punt return for a score. No brainer again. Take the Lions on the road.
Yes, the Lions. Got to go with them guys, man. I tell you. New coordinators and all. New coordinators and all. Okay. Say it with me, Benny. The Commanders are at the Chargers. Last plus score of 0.5. That's a half of a point. Favors the Commanders over those Chargers, Benny. That's pretty close. Kind of liking this game here. Commanders are ranked 14th in net points, Chargers are ranked 13th. So you go, wait a minute. The Chargers are up by 0.3. However, the Chargers on turnover differential are minus 0.5, and the Commanders are only minus 0.3. Too close. It swung on the turnover differential, favoring the Commanders. This should be a good one. I'm kind of looking forward to see at C. Commanders at Chargers. What do you got?
Uh, Commanders are 2-2. Chargers are 3-1, having just lost their first game to my Giants. So let's talk about the Commanders first. Now, I got to double check. I don't think Jaden Daniels is back yet. But last weekend, obviously Marcus Mariota got the start. He threw 2 touchdowns. He did throw 1 interception, but he only threw for 156 yards total. With Terry McLaurin still out, he had to lean on Debo and Luke McCaffrey. They kept it close, but they trailed the whole game, and they never got enough together to get it done, and they ended up losing 34-27. So they kept it close, but they could never get the lead. They're just kind of struggling along. This is probably a game that if Scary Terry and Jaden were there, they probably could have pulled that game out. Now, the Chargers rolled into MetLife last week to face the winless Giants, my winless Giants, who are now no longer winless. And they started a rookie quarterback, Jackson Dart, for his first NFL game. He just seemed to me, watching it, like they got caught by surprise with how confident Dart looked and how well the inspired Giants defense played. They trailed the Giants the entire game. They never had the lead. And once they got to 21-18 at the end of the third quarter, they weren't able to mount a game tying or winning drive. That was it. And as impressive as they've looked on both sides of the ball, who would have thunk it that the Giants would be the team to get a lead and hold on to it against a team like the Chargers? However, this weekend, they'll be back home. And like I said, I'm not exactly sure on Jaden Daniels' status. Maybe you have it there. I don't know if he's going to be ready to go or not. But either way, I'm going to go with a wounded Chargers team back at home and comfortable, and I'm going to pick them to win this game. That would be against the bias, would it not?
Yes, that would be against the bias, Benny. I was trying to do just a quick search to see what what's Jaden Daniels' status. Jaden Daniels is on track to play in this Sunday's game against.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
McLaurin has a quadriceps injury and is trending in the right direction. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. For potential return in week 5. Uh-oh. I don't know. Yeah, this might turn out. You might be right. This might turn out to be a better game than I thought. That's for sure. But I'm gonna stick with my pick. I'm gonna stick
All
with the
right.
Chargers.
You're still going with the Chargers.
Yes, sir.
Going against the bias. All right, there you go. Wow, this could be a good one too, Benny. Patriots at Bills. Bias plus score of 9.9 favors the Bills, Benny, the Bills. When I say Bills, you just see well, the AI goes crazy trying to spell that. In any event, Patriots are ranked 8th and the Bills are ranked 3rd. So the Patriots ain't no joke, Benny, the 10th in scoring. Now, of course, the Bills are 2nd in scoring. They're putting up 33, and the Patriots putting up 25, and the Patriots are 20th on defense. Bills are only 17th, so it's not that big a difference. 22.5 on the Bills side and 20 on the Patriots side. So they're actually giving up less, because the Bills are ranked 17th and the Patriots are ranked 10th. But of course, turnover differential is favoring the Bills. So all that being said, bias plus score 9.9 favors the Bills. What you got?
Good old AFC East matchup. Let's see. Patriots hosted the Panthers last week, and they treated their fans to a good old-fashioned beatdown. Drake May tossed 2 touchdown passes and scored another one on the ground. Antonio Gibson and rookie Travion Henderson both had rushing touchdowns. And Marcus Jones returned a punt for a score. So they seem to have everything clicking on both sides of the ball. They ended up whipping the Panthers. Of course, it was the Panthers, though. But the score was 42-13, so they really, really got off. The Bills, on the other hand, let the visiting Saints stay close until midway through the fourth quarter. Just kind of seemed like they were kind of bored with this game. But then they put them away, and they went from 21-19 to 31-19 in like the final 8:53 of the game. So, they just were like, you know what, guys, that's it. Let's turn it on. And that's what they did. I got to go with the Bills. They're the boss of this division. I think they're going to stay that way. So I'll take the Bills with the bias.
Patriots are like, you're not the boss of me. You're not the boss of me.
Yeah, they are, though.
All right, Ben's going with the bias, going with the Bills. Next up, Chiefs at Jaguars. Oh my goodness. Bias plus score of 6.7 favors the Jaguars, Benny. The Jaguars, Chiefs are ninth ranked on net points at 5.3. Jaguars are 6th with 6 net points. Let's see here. Chiefs are 15th in scoring. Jaguars are 18th in scoring. Chiefs are 8th on defense. And the Jags are 5th. And the Jags have them. Matter of fact, let's give it to the Jags for turnover differential. Number 1 in turnover differential on the league. And again, my Niners probably helped that ranking a little bit there. I'll let you take it from there, Benny. I don't want to get nauseous here.
Yeah, they're people are afraid to grab them in fantasy. I wasn't. They're leading the league in interceptions, and they're in 3rd place in fumble recoveries. So they might be giving up yardage, they might be giving up points, but they will take the ball away from you. So that's what makes the Jaguar defense very dangerous. Also, the Jaguars have some similarities with the Eagles. Their offense hasn't been at its best yet, really hasn't. Trevor Lawrence hasn't turned it up like a lot of people thought he would. Brian Thomas Jr., who everybody was expecting to have a great second year after a really nice rookie year, has kind of gotten off to a slow start too. Travis Etienne has shown some flashes, but he hasn't really dominated on the ground like people thought he would. But they keep finding ways to win, just like a team in the city that we live in. Now, and the ways they've been winning is usually through their defense and or their special teams. Now, before their win over the Niners, they were 3rd in fumble recoveries, like I said, and 1st in interceptions. I believe those rankings are still in place. On Sunday, Parker Washington returned a punt. There's that special teams, 87 yards, 4 touchdowns, and the defense delivered 4 takeaways. Oh, and by the way, one of those takeaways came on a Tariq Armstead strip sack that pretty much sealed the 26-21 win. Tariq Armstead, ex-49er, gets the job done.
And my Niners can't get any defensive line pressure.
Yeah, but they let him go.
They let him go.
Yeah. Now, Chiefs. Xavier Worthy came back from injury, and along with Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster, the struggling Chiefs passing game is starting to look like old times. At least they did while they were down in Baltimore. Patrick Mahomes threw for 270 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think that's his best day statistically so far this season. The defense wasn't great, but they sacked Lamar 3 times. They turned him over twice. And they handled the Ravens, who are got to be like reeling right now, 37-20. This could be a tougher game than some folks may suspect. Chiefs are going to have to be careful holding on to that ball. Jaguars do take it away. And like I said, their offenses hasn't really taken off, and the Chiefs defense isn't exactly playing great. This is a tough one to call, but I like what I see offensively for the Chiefs. I think they're feeling themselves now after starting off a little crippled there early in the season. So I'm going to go with the bias and go with the Chiefs. They do have the
All right,
bias,
so
right?
Jaguars.
I'm sorry, I'm going to go against the bias and go with the Chiefs.
Go with the Chiefs.
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's hard to go against the Chiefs. You know, it really is. So I can understand it. All right. And then also it's also, you know, I'll remind people, you know, one of the weaknesses of the net points is it can't take into account um injuries, you know, and replacement people, so that sometimes the team that built those net point situations is not the team that's playing on, you know, this coming Sunday, especially if the quarterback's not there or one of their major players is not there. However, a team, you know, great teams can overcome that and still and maybe stick with their bias. However, in this case, Ben's going with the Chiefs. I understand it. Bias. Oh wait, was that the end? That's right. There's only 14 games. That's right. This week, Benny.
That is correct.
And we did not mention that the one game is on Sunday morning.
We got another one of those?
Yeah, we have another one of those. Um, let's see here. Let me take a quick look here at the schedule for the locations. Because a lot of times I'm not really paying that much attention. But now with these international games, man, you gotta pay attention to where people are playing at now, because they could be anywhere in the world. So Sunday morning,
Vikings Browns in London.
Vikings Browns, 9:30 in London. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So let's mention that real quick. Also, you already mentioned that the bye weeks. There's a couple teams that are on the bye there. So you mentioned that early on. And that's important, especially I know it's important for you fantasy people to make sure you got your lineups correct. And you're not depending on somebody that's not going to be there because they're not playing this week. Let's see. The Sunday night game is that Patriots Bills game, Benny. So that's going to be a good matchup. And the Monday night game is the Chiefs at Jaguars. So a couple special scenarios there. And once we've done the work of the net points, we come to the Bias Plus Buster of the Week. And it's the Patriots. The Bias Plus Buster score 37.7. Patriots did the darn thing. They were taking no prisoners. So I hope to see them go up there and give those Bills a run for their money. But congratulations and a hand to the New England Patriots Bias Plus Busters of the Week. So there you go, Benny. Let's take a quick look at our Facebook page as we wrap it up. Just for a couple of hot stories. Some hot stories, Benny. First hot story. Bad Bunny is supposed to be headlining the next Super Bowl, which I understand is sending the more conservative factions into a tizzy. So,
who they want? Dolly Parton?
well, they first of all, he just turned down coming here because of the whole immigration thing, and they're like, he's going to sing everything in Spanish.
Oh, God.
But we know what that's all about, right? We know what that's all about. Moving along here, Benny, what's the question going on about the Giants turf?
This has been going on for years now. They actually had so many injuries and got talked so badly about that they changed the turf, put in a different type that's just as doggone bad as the first one.
There you go.
So the turf that's in now, I think, was just replaced 2, maybe 3 seasons ago. It's still relatively new, but it's the type. It's a different version of the same type of turf. The bottom line is, to me, this is just me talking. You got 2 teams that use the same field. 2 teams, 2 ownerships, 2 organizations. They can't put their money together and take care of a grass field up there. That's crazy. Now, yes, the field's going to get a lot more work because there's darn near a home game for one of them every single week of the year, where most teams only have maybe 7, 8 home games. That field will have to take on 16. But guess what? They got experts. They have guys that know how to grow and tend to grass. It's probably expensive, but damn, these dudes are
You're making
rich, man.
billions, right, Benny?
They're making billions.
Making billion. And when you lose somebody like Malik Neighbors, oh, that's a heavy hit for your squad, man. So sorry about that. All right. Want to mention that the NFL trade deadline is Tuesday, November 4th at 4 p.m.
Why does that seem so early?
Well, it's November. Still got a whole month to go here. So I just mentioned it because we'll be seeing some trading going on.
And that'll be like week 9. That's crazy.
Really? Well, it's the 4th this time. So let's just mention and see what your thoughts are on this whole Shedeur Sanders being, at this point, he's being accused of playing God by deciding that rather than go, he had an opportunity to go to the Ravens. And he said, I'll never get any playing time if I go to the Ravens. So I'm going to go to the Browns.
No,
No?
that's not what happened.
Tell me what happened.
He decided he didn't want to go to the Ravens, but he said, I'd rather go to the Browns instead. That's not what happened. He just
Okay.
let the Ravens know
Oh, he let the
that he
Ravens,
didn't
and then he
think that
got
would be a
picked
good
up by the
opportunity.
Browns.
Excuse me?
He said no to the Ravens and then got picked up by the Browns.
He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns.
Right.
Before the draft, he informed the Ravens that he'd rather they not pick him because he didn't want to sit behind Lamar Jackson for 10 years.
Okay.
I don't see what the big deal is. What's playing God? Eli did the same thing. Marino did the same thing. Elway did the same thing. What? I don't get it.
Well, they weren't backups, number one. So it's a little
Well, he
different.
wasn't a backup either before the draft.
Well,
They all did the same
it was
exact thing.
in my estimation, first of all, if you have an opportunity to go to a franchise like the Ravens, although this particular year their numbers aren't looking real good. There were no one in offense, number 32 in defense. I think that that's an opportunity, and to play behind a Lamar. First of all, if you got a running quarterback, you have a much higher, I believe, chance to get an opportunity to get in and play. They get all dinged up a little bit, that's just par for the course. So I to tell the Ravens I don't want to go there to that, I don't see that at all. If the Ravens were interested in him, man, I would have beat it down to go there. So I'm not sure where he got that.
So people that are saying this are forgetting that before the draft, everybody and their mother thought he was a first round pick. Him, his dad, and everybody else had him pegged as a first round pick, meaning that he would be very close to becoming a starter, if not the first year, somewhere during the first year or a year or two later. Everybody thought that. So what happened after that, you can't go back and now say that was a bad decision. Suppose somebody else took him in the first round and he was starting this week like Jackson Dart. Suppose the Giants had taken him.
Well, again, when I look at 32 teams and I look at the attractiveness of the franchises, I believe that the Ravens are much more attractive than probably 30 of the 32 teams.
Yeah, if you want to be on a winning team.
So there you go.
But that wasn't his goal at that time.
Well, it wasn't, but
most first round draft pick quarterbacks don't go to winning teams.
I know that's the point.
Right.
He would have had an opportunity to go to a winning squad, and then anyway, that was the controversy for this particular article. Obviously, you think what he did was fine, and there's some questions that have been thrown his way. So that's the controversy surrounding Shedeur. So
it's funny. It's funny. Everybody talks about where Shedeur's this, Shedeur's that. It's a circus. You're going to have problems. The media creates all of this. He didn't do anything different than a bunch of other quarterbacks that put the word out to certain teams before the draft that they did not want that team to pick them. In fact, they even said, if you do pick them, we're not coming. Elway told the team, if you pick me, I'm going to go play baseball. I mean, this shouldn't be a controversy at all. They're just keeping it going because they know people like to hear about Shedeur.
Well, I think it also came up because Lamar got hurt.
So again, this is revisionist.
That's what brought it back to the fore.
This is revisionist history.
What's revisionist history?
If Lamar gets hurt, you can't go back and say it was a mistake for Shedeur not to go there. You can't do that after the fact. Can't do that after the fact.
I think it was a mistake not to go there any event. I think about Aaron Rodgers sitting behind Brett Favre. You'll get your chance. You'll get your chance, and you'll be with a top team as opposed to a team that's struggling and could be potentially dysfunctional, i.e., the Cleveland Browns. So I understand what you're saying, but
it's crazy. You are hearing what I'm saying, right? You were there.
You hearing what I'm saying?
Well, why are you acting like you forget how this guy was pegged as a first-round pick by everybody in the universe? Telling the Ravens he doesn't want to go there was no big deal. Nobody even mentioned it until now. Circumstances where teams decided we're not going to take him for whatever reason, and he ends up going in the 5th round of Cleveland. Nobody predicted that.
Well, Benny,
since that happened,
there were questions about where he would go coming out of the combines and pro days and things of that nature. There was some questions, and you and I even talked about how maybe he should have gone with an agent as opposed to just listening to his dad, and how that impacted him. So there were
not to the point of going to the Browns in the 5th round.
What?
Not to the point of going to the Browns in the 5th round.
There was some
Nobody saw that.
Everybody in the universe. It wasn't everybody. There were some questions. Is my only point. So I understand what you're saying, but I have a slightly different take on it. If you have an opportunity to go to a team like the Ravens, I think that you can let that go. So, all right. Any final comments?
No, sir. I'm done.
All right. Thank you for sticking around with Ben and Barry on football. Remember, you can see us at www.benandbarry on football. Please click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell, and you'll be able to follow us and get that information. So, all right, Benny, I'm done.
All right, bro.
Talk to you
later.